This video is sponsored by Getsufumaden Undying Moon. In the world of Chainsaw Man, if anything is guaranteed, it's that characters will come and go in unexpected and more often than not sudden ways. The series pacing is pretty chaotic, but it's a refreshing take on a shonen battle manga, as when new characters and devils appear, they could be around for 20 chapters or 2 pages. This expendable nature of the characters is in part a result of the sheer amount of them as well as devils, but it's also an integral aspect of the series storytelling, as the author Tatsuki Fujimoto will carefully inject a certain level of chaos and uncertainty into each arc. And this chaotic quality to the writing would only grow as the series continued, reaching its peak at what can be considered Chainsaw Man's best arc, International Assassins. The complexity of this arc and ambition shown from Fujimoto is nothing short of astounding. The entire arc exists within 18 chapters, that's just 2 volumes of manga, and within these pages we are introduced to 14 new characters and 13 new devils who all serve a significant role. And those are characters on top of the pre-existing main cast and even less important recurring characters. So in total, there are over 30 characters, including devils, present within this arc, all having a role to play, being a part of Fujimoto's meticulously crafted chaos. As the theme of this arc, or rather the feeling being conveyed to the audience, is convergence, a magnitude 11 shitstorm heading right towards Denji's head, as the deadliest assassins from all over the world begin flooding into Tokyo. So in today's video, we will be finding the method behind Fujimoto's madness and breaking down why the International Assassins arc just works. But first, let's talk about the stunning new game, Getsufumaden Undying Moon, a brand new hack-and-slash action game with 100% roguelike gameplay, inspired by Dead Cells with a Metroidvania take on it. In the game, you descend into hell to eradicate the source of the Cataclysm, fighting tons of interesting demons and massive bosses looking like something straight out of a manga, featuring a beautiful traditional Japanese art style and banger soundtrack, mixing traditional Japanese instruments with heavy and electronic tracks. As for gameplay, you're offered a wide variety of weapons, all with their own unique movesets and fighting styles such as katanas, clubs, battle umbrellas, rifles, and more. The boss fights also offer a serious challenge, making this game a must-try for people that enjoy this genre or just gorgeous art styles. Getsufumaden Undying Moon is already available on Switch and Steam, with the deluxe edition available too, including some extra goodies. So click the link in the description to check out the game and start playing today. So here's the setup. Coming fresh off of the Bomb Girl encounter and the leaked media coverage of the fight, the Chainsaw Devil gets doxxed, and now professional assassins from all over the world head to Japan to claim the Chainsaw's heart, effectively making Denji the most wanted man on the planet. Before their arrival, we are briefly introduced to the various assassins we will be encountering, including the Immortal Brothers of America, the Soviet Hunters, Germany's Santa Claus, and the Chinese assassin Quan Chi and her harem of fiends, who I cannot show in their introduction pages or most of their panels together because I am 90% sure they got my last Chainsaw Man video age restricted, so God knows how Fujimoto got this printed in Jump. But anyways, the unique quality of this arc is how all of these assassins are brought into the story and used simultaneously, as we see through their perspective and their approach to their work, with a significant build up to their eventual convergence, as we see each group planning their attack on Denji and their methods used to get close to him, which are inevitably going to impact each other's plans, having that rising tension of the shitstorm brewing. The structure is noticeably different from the previous arcs in the series, juggling so many characters and navigating multiple plot lines in a short amount of time while weaving them together. It has a certain film quality due to the Western influence on Fujimoto's work that allows specifically this arc to feel so unique yet familiar in the shonen genre. Fujimoto has mentioned many works that have inspired him from both Eastern and Western media, describing Chainsaw Man as a twisted FLCL and a pop-infected Abara, which definitely rings true in terms of the character interactions and aesthetics, yet also bases characters off of tons of Western media, stating the character Power was inspired by Walter Sobchak from The Big Lebowski and Eric Cartman from South Park, being extremely crass and hostile, yet a little charming.
That's fucking interesting, man. That's fucking interesting.
And of course, the most obvious Western influence being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which Fujimoto cited as his inspiration for a chainsaw-wielding protagonist, saying chainsaws are cool. And it's this blend of influence from different cultures and genres that's earned Chainsaw Man the title of a not Jump-like jump manga. Fujimoto has even shared his thoughts on this title, saying, and I quote, "I always wanted to serialize and jump, so I had the feeling that if I drew a serialization there was the risk that my work would get buried if I made a jump-like manga. Because of that, I tried to retain much of my individuality as a creator, only making the structure and characters jump-like." And clearly Fujimoto has accomplished this, as the core elements of Chainsaw Man are jump influence, such as the aesthetics and the basic plot of the whole devil inside the protagonist, all in 1972's Devilman, and literally hundreds of series after that. I'm telling you guys, it doesn't get old. While it seems the writing takes more influence from Western cinema, sort of a Tarantino meets Coen style, who are directors responsible for films such as Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and The Big Lebowski. These are also directors Fujimoto has stated he is fans of and has used their characters and direction as inspiration. Just one example is how the cast of Reservoir Dogs had inspired the basic and professional uniforms for the Devil Hunters. But in a broader sense, there are a few core elements that define these directors' styles, which Fujimoto has clearly taken note of and implemented into his manga. These include ultraviolence, self-destruction, dark humor, and coincidental writing. The ultraviolence of Chainsaw Man is pretty self-explanatory, being a manga about a chainsaw man, but of course also taking influence from slasher flicks and other more violent manga. But it's more important than just senseless brutality, as excessive violence can be used in media for many purposes, such as comedy, catharsis, and especially in manga is just fun and badass stylistically. And in Chainsaw Man, it does all of those things. While character self-destruction, on the other hand, is a more common theme in the Coen brother films like The Big Lebowski. In this film, the protagonist is his own worst enemy, flawed, unremarkable, constantly working against himself, and being guided throughout the plot by external forces. Meanwhile, Denji shares these same qualities, as his infatuation with Makima is his downfall. She blinds him from his own self-interest and guides his hand throughout the story. Denji is not necessarily a shonen hero with a grand sense of moral justice or really any righteous ambition. He doesn't want to kill the gun devil or even protect people, really. He's just a kid who's seeking the most basic form of human compassion he's been starved from his entire life, and will allow himself to be burned and betrayed over and over again in pursuit of filling the void. He is a flawed character, and like the aforementioned films, he doesn't necessarily move the plot forward either. Yes, he is able to kill the enemies, but he stumbles from one inconvenience to another, doing whatever he's asked of just for the chance at the girl of his dreams. And in the context of the International Assassins arc, he's literally just existing, in fact trying to make his presence as thin as possible while everyone around him is pushing the story forward. But I'll leave the larger discussion of Denji's character there for today, as his influence from Western media could be its own dedicated video. And just in case anyone misinterpreted that, none of the flawed aspects of Denji make him a bad character. In fact, they're what make him so unique within the genre and interesting. But this self-destructive characteristic is not unique to Denji. In fact, it's a very large theme of the entire manga, as it can be found in most of the cast, as devil hunting is an extremely dangerous profession that most of the characters don't seem to mind throwing their lives away for. And the remaining core elements present are dark humor and coincidence, which often go hand in hand. During the International Assassins, let's take for example Joey's death, who is the middle child among the Immortal Brothers if you don't recall. So these three are contracted with the Skin Devil that allows them to steal the identity of any corpse they come in contact with. And after ambushing the Kyoto Division 1 Devil Hunters, Joey steals the identity of Kurose, which allows him to work from inside the bureau in an attempt to get closer to Denji. But not before long, Joey is killed by Power driving Kobeni's car. She's driving the car for like no reason, by the way, and it's on accident by complete coincidence, which results in one of the funniest moments in the manga, as well as progression of the plot by Joey's true identity being revealed and furthering the motivation for his brother Aldo. So because Fujimoto implemented so many characters during this arc, he was able to make them expendable and create interesting writing unique to a Jump manga. This scene is far more reminiscent to something you may find in a Tarantino film. Take Pulp Fiction for example, during the Marvin scene, when the characters Jules and Vincent are driving to their boss's house to drop off a briefcase, but during their drive, Vincent accidentally shoots their friend Marvin in the face.
Stop it.
Oh, what the fuck's happening?
Oh, man,
shit.
man. Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the fuck you do that?
I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
Moving the plot in a completely different direction by coincidence, which is accompanied by the dark humor, much like Power accidentally killing Joey, as in terms of writing, they accomplish the same result. Exploring further into this series' use of dark humor, irony is something you may not see often in manga, as it may be misinterpreted as inconsistencies if a character were to say one thing but do another. Yet Fujimoto does not shy away from the subject. And we don't have to go very far to find it either, as the three brothers are one of the best examples of irony in the series. They claim to be immortal, saying every time they were faced with death, they miraculously survived. Whether it was the gun devil being swallowed by a devil, a house fire, or food poisoning, they seem to have a guardian angel and can't even imagine their own deaths. Yet, as soon as they arrive in Japan, they begin dying one by one at random. Joey hit by Kobeni's car, Elder is overheard yelling by Hitofume and slaughtered in an alleyway who he just so happened to be walking by, and Aldo is Halloween by Cosmo off screen. Although I would like to believe there is more to see from Aldo, as he was the most sympathetic of the brothers and had a story arc leading towards redemption with quite a bit of screen time, as he was truly apologetic for his actions and was distinctly less evil than the other two brothers. So it's possible he was just pretending to be Halloween to escape the commotion, which would align with his cowardly nature. And if that's the case, Aldo could return in part 2 of Chainsaw Man as a good guy, sort of redemption story. But the current resolution of the three brothers is smothered in irony, seeing each of them picked off one by no fault of their their own, simply caught up in the chaos. It's these core elements working together which are a large contribution to Chainsaw Man's foundation, meaning they may not always be at the forefront of the writing, but they are always still present and complement the abundance of shonen action, which is more so the focus. As the other assassins, Quan Chi and Santa Claus, are the more prevalent antagonists, both threats that the whims of fate won't deal with on their own. As Quan Chi and her harem storm through Tokyo like a force of nature, showcasing some of the best action imagery in the manga and some pretty sick double-page spreads, but who are shortly forced to befriend the main cast as Santa Claus the Puppeteer turned out to be one step ahead of everyone. And if at any point you felt like this arc was moving too fast, it's because it is, but that's also kind of the point of it, as it's notoriously responsible for the term Chainsaw Man pacing, as in each coming chapter, a new threat more dangerous than the last arises. Starting at simply the fear of ambush, to the three brothers' assassination, to weaponized dolls appearing all over the city, to Quan Chi slicing through skulls like butter, then to a nice, scenic visit to hell in the Darkness Devil, then back to the world of the living for a peak shonen fight with Quan Chi and Denji against the Darkness Fiend Santa Claus, and then concluding with an even larger threat arising, Makima taking back control of the situation, cutting down the only remaining threats. And all of it in just 18 chapters, by the way, although in my opinion what was the International Assassins arc, or at least the parts I wanted to praise in this video for its film-esque writing and unique use of characters, concludes at chapter 62, appropriately titled Super Mess, which is where we finally get hit by the shitstorm as we see the culmination of each assassin's plan, or at least what's left of them. As poor Aldo is hiding out in the bathroom, he finally musters the courage to finish his job, motivated by his losses, storming back into the department store to see a fiend-on-fiend free-for-all, Quan Chi going head-to-head with Hirafume, Denji across the way stepping on Tolka's nail being crucified by the Cursed Devil, and right when you think it's already a cluster, then the real Santa Claus twist is revealed and she turns on Tolka, sacrificing her perfect dolls and sending everyone straight to hell, literally 40 chessing the entire arc. And it's those chapters, from the introduction of the assassins to where we are now, where I think the series really did something special and excelled for all of the reasons we talked about in this video, essentially bringing in a shit ton of characters and doing something extremely unique and fun with them. And that's why the International Assassins is my favorite arc, and I think it's the best arc in Chainsaw Man, but you know.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
And that's the video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. If you made it this far, or if you enjoyed, just please be sure to like the video, as it does help out individual videos. Otherwise, subscribe for more anime and manga content if you're not already, and you can click on screen for another Chainsaw Man video. Hopefully you guys are all excited for more Chainsaw Man content coming later this year with part 2 and the anime. It's gonna be insane. But for now, thank you all so much for watching again, and I'm out. Peace!